Are we good?
Yep.
Yep. Okay, cool. Yeah, well, just wanted to say hello to everyone that's tuning in to this meeting. This is the 2024 ASRA AGM. We are going to cover basically what's been going on for the last year within ASRA, and also cover a little bit past that, just to do with like skateboarding and other fun things. But yeah, for the next sort of 40 minutes or so, we'll just be going through what's actually happening with the ASRA Association, and yeah, kind of our plans and what we're going to be doing going forward. It's been a bit of a turbulent time. We've had a lot of change within the organization, and yeah, we have a few members who are not here with us today. Yeah, we have Vanessa, who's been a new member, and she wants to give her apologies to not being able to attend. We also have Neil Duddy, who is another general board member. He unfortunately has had some technical issues and not been able to attend this meeting. And I'll be trying to, sort of just cover the stuff that he was planning on covering in this live stream. Yeah, so start off with my name is Zach Mills Goodwin. I've been doing downhill skateboarding for about 12 years, and I have been on this ASRA board for, I think it's coming up on 5 years. I began as just a general board member for the Victorian representative position, basically just to try and advocate for what's going on within my state of Victoria and the skateboarding that kind of happens down here. And so we can communicate with the rest of the board to try and achieve, you know, some community goals. I have been doing this recently as like a vice president position. I've been just trying to help recollect everything so that we can focus on building ASRA up going forward. And just excited to be here and bring what I can to the table as a active skateboarder, and hopefully a good acting vice president. I'll pass it on to Imi, if you would like to introduce yourself.
Hey, I'm Imogen. I am a Australian slalom skateboarder. First year on the ASRA board, learning as I go. Very excited to be behind the scenes of it now. I'm pretty keen to get some more events up and running, potentially the Conehead Cup, things like that. That's about it. I like slalom. If anyone wants to get on board, wants to come to a session, or wants to know anything more, always feel free to reach out. Thanks.
Cool. That was really nice. We'll pass it on. If you would like to introduce yourself, Chris.
Oh, hi, everybody. I'm absolutely very new to ASRA, and I'm really excited to be here. I actually literally think of it as an honor. So I'm a downhill skateboarder, but I'd say probably more freeride, and I also started late. So, my skills are nowhere near the brilliant people in this room. Zach and Emmy, you're incredible. I look up to you guys, and it's such an honor to be here. So I'll just give you a little bit of background, what I'm, where I come from, or what I do, and what I think I might be able to offer ASRA. So I'm actually an executive coach for leaders in large businesses like Google, PricewaterhouseCoopers, Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, all these huge brands, and I coach leaders who pretty serious leaders within those organizations to help them communicate more effectively so that they can either win business or build stronger relationships or motivate people into action. And so I help them to be authentic. I help them to make a positive impact on the world around them. And I really believe in making a positive impact. And I think this community is awesome. We have a community, it's a fairly small community at the moment, the downhill the skateboarding and inline skating community is an amazing community. The most wonderful, non-judgmental people I think I've come across in a community. So ASRA is a really important thing, I think. And I'm really, this is my second meeting with ASRA, right? So, but I see you guys as so important, and ASRA is so important to bring this community together, for it to be a hub for incredibly talented athletes. I mean, athletes that are of supreme talent that hardly anybody knows about outside of our community. And I'd really like to change that. I'd really like to bring us all together and for ASRA to be a place where, 1,000 members who love skating down hills come to talk, come to, I don't know, shop, come to bring ideas, come to support athletes, and to join together to, ultimately become more known, maybe even be a Olympic sport. So look, I know I'm taking a lot of time here, but I am really looking forward to helping this organization grow. And the skaters who I've spoken to, who I skate with regularly, just said, "Oh, this is great that ASRA's, launching again, really, and we need it and we want it. So this is an awesome thing." And so thank you for having me, and appreciate allowing me to introduce myself, Zach. And it's great to be here. Good to meet you.
Yeah, thanks very much for that, Chris. Yeah, we're just going to quickly try and get through some of the boring aspects of the meeting now. Just kind of going over parts of the Constitution in ASRA. This document can be accessed on the ASRA website in the About tab. It's the old website, but it's still got some working features. Yeah, in there you can find, in the About section, the Constitution itself. It's just a PDF document, but it basically outlines kind of our role as the board, and also the role as like a member of the association. At the moment, yeah, is power of the committee is to be called a committee of management of the association, subject to the act and regulation of these rules and any resolution passed by the association in the general meeting. Oh, I think we've got a late coming Duddy. Hey mate, how you doing? Would you like to introduce yourself quickly?
Audio.
I don't know if he can hear us. Can you hear us?
That's correct. So, do you sort of the?
Oh, I just got rid of it.
Can you hear us, Daddy?
Really? Launch meeting.
Press that.
Yeah, allow.
Have you got it going?
You got us on mute, Daddy? Maybe? Got yourself on mute.
He was down with the.
I think he might be sorting out the audio still on this. Anyway, I guess I'll continue to go until hopefully Daddy can tune in as well. But yeah, we also have the Constitution membership, and there's three main roles within our board, which include the president, the vice president, and the secretary, which make up the office bearers of our committee. These are kind of the executive people of the board that can make decisions for the association itself with the association. And yeah. Yeah, so that's kind of part of the Constitution. We have a secretary. The secretary is basically our keeper of what goes on with the association, and basically goes through all of our meetings and produces minutes. So then that way we have a log that can kind of keep track of what's been going on throughout separate meetings, and moving onwards and forwards, we can continue to I don't know, have a good recollection to be able to move forward and continue to improve our association. Yeah, the secretary is also someone that works with our financial person on the board to hopefully, yeah, keep track of all of the assets that ASRA has, and yeah, going forward, what we do with them and everything else. Duddy, can you hear us? Yeah, no, cool. I think your microphone might not be working though. Is there a microphone symbol that you could change or connect?
How's that?
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, did you want to give us a quick introduction of who you are and your position with us?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm Duddy. I'm here to support anything that slalom, downhill, luge, all types of skating. So if I can help in any way, I'm here to help. So
Yeah.
that's
Nah,
what I'm here
awesome.
for.
Stoked to have you here, mate.
Cheers.
Yeah. That's almost the end of the boring part of this introduction. The next segment is basically just stating what the AGM is. So this AGM is something that is meant to happen once a year through the association, and it is called with at least, I think, 2 weeks notice, and needs to happen once a financial year. The AGM is an open discussion with input from all the members, so then that way we can stay above board with what's going on with ASRA and our finances, and so that we can continue to grow and change as a community, and just continue the involvement of a collective. So yeah, welcome to the 2024 AGM. That's kind of like the end of the boring bits. We are going to go into the next, like, slightly less boring part, the financial stuff now. Yeah, I'm also kind of running by the seat of my pants here because we've had some unfortunate last minute people who have decided to leave the ASRA board. Yeah, we would like to just take a second to commend Thea, who has been our financial person for the last few years on the board. She's currently the second longest running ASRA board member with us, and yeah, she has done a great job. She's been a great keeper of like all of our finances over like the last few years, and it's really sad to see her decide to leave us at ASRA, but yeah, we appreciate everything that she's done for us. We also wanted to say a very sad goodbye to James Hopkin. He will be stepping down as president. As of today, he's decided to step down from his position. It's really unfortunate because he brings a lot to the table, and it's going to be sad to lose a lot of that experience, but we're hoping to work together with these two individuals still to be able to like hopefully pick up some of the skills that they brought to the association, and we can take that and hopefully continue to do some good work and provide some good support for our community. And yeah, so sorry to see you guys go, but thanks for everything that you guys have done, because we really do appreciate everything that you guys have done for the association. Yeah, so Thea's job was to kind of go through and make sure all the financial stuff of ASRA was well organized, and she's kind of the keeper of our accounts. So on her behalf, I'm going to be going through sort of the profit and loss statements of the last few years, just so everyone is aware of our financial position within ASRA. So from July 2021 to June 2022, that financial year, we had an income of $1,544 of ASRA memberships. And then we also had a loss of $6,906 of Newton's refunds. This was kind of the fallout of the COVID situation, where we lost a lot of assets because of the way that the Newton's Nation race unfortunately had to be cancelled due to the COVID pandemic. This, yeah, was a really unfortunate turn of events. but yeah, luckily we had a certain amount of assets within ASRA, so we were able to provide refunds to people despite the losses that also came from that whole situation. We also had $2,750 of donations, and we also had a few smaller income losses from fundraising events. We also had just the general expenses of running the ASRA website and including some fees for PayPal, as that's what we were using our refund system because that's how a lot of us receive payments for the ASRA accounts. So of that year, we lost in total $3,086.34. All right, moving onwards from that year, in the year 2022 to 2023, July to June, we gained $840 of ASRA memberships. Then we also gained $4,855 from World Skate due to our Australian campaign for the World Skate team that were attending the World Skate Games in Argentina. We also had a income from sponsorships for the teams that were going and representing Australia. And we also had another small income from fundraising and events, which was $28.16, and from sponsorship, $11,000. The total income came to $16,724.99. The majority of this went to our costs for supporting our team, who were over in South America competing for our country. And the total cost of all of these came out to being $14,508.14. This covered the costs of registrations, our transport, slalom riders advance funds. So they basically subsidized a lot of the costs for like the slalom team. And we also had a lot of money that went towards accommodation, which covered accommodation for the entirety of our slalom, inline downhill, luge and downhill skateboarding teams. Yeah, at the end of the financial year, the only other expenses that we had were from our digital marketing, which is again the website costs, as we still continue to operate the skateboardracing.org site hosted by Ning, and came out with a profit of $1,752.50. All right, and now we come to our final financial statement. If you're still with me, thank you. It is not that fun listening to people talk on about incomes and losses, but this last financial year, July 2023 to April 2024, which is not finalized yet, it's up to April of this year. We had $550 worth of ASRA memberships come in. And we also had $22,087.07 donated from the IDF after their dissolvement. After this, we have the costs of the World Skate World Championships, which was held in the Philippines. The total costs of this event were $8,629.98. This cost covered sort of forefront payment for a lot of the athletes for their registrations. It also covered accommodation and like other costs involved that were to do with some of like the team members. A lot of this is going to be paid back by the team. So it's kind of just a borrowed asset that we were able to provide through ASRA, which we are very happy that we could provide that service. Our gross profit for the year comes out as $13,608 when you take away the other website hosting costs that come out every single year. After this financial year, we're still waiting to receive a lot of the forward payments back from the people who are competing. And once we receive that, then hopefully we'll be back up to sort of where we got our initial donation from the IDF, which was graciously donated by them to our association for our future endeavors and investing back into the skateboarding scene itself. And that concludes our financial segment. I hope you guys all got through that quite well. And yeah, now I'm going to blabble on about something that's actually pretty fun to talk about. What's been going on in the downhill skateboarding scene over the last couple of years. Yeah, I've been lucky enough to be involved with what's been going on over the last couple of years in Australia. And whilst it's been a bit more of a quiet time, we've still been getting together and getting to, enjoy a couple closed road events, which has been quite cool. And there's going to be some cool things to say. So in 2023, the Yarra Ranges Downhill Festival was the only closed road event that occurred for the year. That kind of settles it as being the only event to qualify for Australian downhill points. So from that event, we can kind of say that each position that people finished is a good standing for the Australian Championship for that year. So for 2023, Shannon Tully was the #1 Australian downhill skateboarder for Australia. In women's skate, a resident, Leo Richard, who's from originally France, who's been residing in New South Wales. She was in first place. Then we have in opens luge, Graham Britton for another consecutive year was the Australian champion. Closely after this event, which was the only official race that happened of 2023, we had for the first time in a long time an official free ride, which was hosted again in Victoria, called Lake Mountain Downhill Festival. This was the inaugural event, and it was a great opportunity for people to come get together and get to skate a relatively easy road and really just get to enjoy the community for the first time, as it's quite like an open and inviting space. We really want to commend Julian Sherman for his efforts in organizing multiple closed road events. He's continuously been a really good support for the Australian scene, and to be able to provide closed road events for people, it really creates like a good space for people to be able to get into the sport in a safe manner, and hopefully continue everyone to get into competing and traveling and all the other great things that downhill skateboarding can provide you. For the last 12 months, Yarra Ranges Downhill Festival happened again in 2024. Recently, we have in first place Zane Bonster from Queensland. In second, Shannon Tully from New South Wales. In third place, we had Lawrence Thompson from New Zealand. And in fourth place, we had Cassian Basker from New South Wales. After this event, if there is no other events, it will most likely be that this will be the Australian Championships. Hopefully we can get some more events later this year, but we're yet to see anyone really begin to try and get any going, but fingers crossed there could be more. If not, then these will likely be the Australian champions. In women's, we had Alyssa Ma in first place from New Zealand. We had Leo Richard from France. And in third place, we had NP, who is a Thai lady that came over and competed. It's a great women's podium. It's the biggest women's final that we've had in Australia for a while. And it's cool to see lots of international people. Again, with Leo being a resident, it would mean that they are the 2024 champion if no other event happens. In luge, we had Graham Britton again in first, which would mean that he is again the Australian champion for another consecutive year. It's been awesome seeing Grits be so dominant over so many years. And we've got another Nick McCurdy in second place, and we also had in third Julian Slaney. It's great to see everyone competing in luge. And for the first ever time, we had an open inline skating division. This is great because we have people competing with us overseas for the World Skate Championships, where there is an inline downhill division, and we've never really had that division in an Australian event before. So it's been awesome to be able to incorporate that into our current events. In first place, we had Greg Casey, who's represented Australia. In second place, we had Paul Clayton, who is a Melbourne skater. And then in third place, we also had Shane Ellis, who is another Melbourne skater. It's great to see that we've got some new disciplines appearing and that there's people who are keen to get into the sport. And we can also diversify what we're doing as an association as we bring in downhill inline into kind of what we're hoping to continue on into the future with ASRA. Just want to say that there's also been a lot of unofficial get-togethers. We've had Bomb the Snowies, which has been a great turnout for people traveling from interstate to meet up in the Snowy Mountains. We've also had a few other events around Catherine Hill Bay with Duddy and Pump Station as well, like some big giant slalom events. Might not be specifically downhill racing, but it does get the downhill crew together, and it's awesome to try out some slalom events. We also have been having lots of other kind of sessions up in the mountains where people get together. So if you are watching this and you're interested in like how to get involved into community events, just try and get in touch with other skaters. Just message anyone, because if you can get in touch with them, they'll most likely be able to tell you when and where you can come and join in and try and be included in getting out there, because it is a big part of our community. There's also been a lot of interest this year after we've had the World Championships at the start of this year. We are leading into another World Skate event later on this year in September. We are currently in the process of still selecting a team. We're still awaiting from World Skate the exact numbers that'll be getting sent over to compete in this competition. So up until that point, we're kind of just assessing where everyone's at. Obviously, because not a lot of people have been able to compete in the Australian races just because of financial means, and also not being in Australia, as we have some other people who are in the contention that have since moved overseas. We are trying to open it up with a basic form that can kind of rank everyone against each other. So then that way we can rank each skater from like 1 through to however many decide that they want to register their interest in being selected. So then that way, whenever we get a selection criteria of how many people we can send, then we can, as a selection board, go through like from 1 through to 6 people, select all those people, and then we have our team ready. That form will be released very soon, and once that form's released, we want anyone who thinks that they're up or interested in being able to go over to Rome at the end of this year to apply to that. We also want to just commend Harry Clark, who's been involved in the WDSC. He has been attending like these international events, which have been looking awesome. We've had a few other Australian riders compete, but Harry has come second last year in the 2023 competition, and I think is also trying to attend this year. Any other Australian riders that are looking to go out there and get into the WDSC, we just want to shout out to you guys, because it looks like a great competition, and we're really excited to see where that can lead. If anyone needs any support or guidance trying to get into that, feel free to message ASRA or anyone involved, because we're more than happy to try and help you out with getting into competitive racing and getting overseas and doing all that really cool stuff. That's kind of a bit of a summary and a wrap up. There's been a few other sessions happening all over the country. Any major city, we do have people who are getting out and going skating. So if you are looking to try and get in touch with anyone, please feel free to message the page or anyone from the board, and we'll be able to try and point you in the right direction to get in contact with other people to be able to get into, skating downhills and having fun. Well, I hope everyone's enjoyed me blabbering around. I'm actually going to pass it on now to Imi so that she can introduce some of what's been going on within the slalom scene.
Thanks, Zach. Good update too with downhill. So for future updates I'll do what Zach did too and give rankings for events. I apologize, I haven't done that for Salem. I'm conscious of the time and getting through it though, so it's a pretty broad overview. If there's anything that I've missed or any information that people want additionally, please reach out to me. So some highlights, the NACOS crew, big thanks to Duddy, Shaddock, PC and Ryan and Basement Skate. They've organised quite a few events over the last little while. We've had Nord's Wharf, a series of timed hybrid, tight and giant slalom races. For me or anyone that knows it, it was very reminiscent of the Conehead Cup, as we had people from different states attending. In conjunction with Mountain Mick, they also organised the Millsy Cone Destruction. The first year of it was held at Nord's Wharf, the second year at Pump Station. Our original date this year was actually washed out, and the makeup event is going to be on the 25th of May. It's a giant slalom event and it's a lot of fun. If anyone's about in the area, please come and join. There's a Facebook event, but if you want any further information, reach out to Duddy, myself, or anyone that you're familiar with. In March, over the ACT long weekend every year, the cross crew hold the annual capital punishment. This is 3 days of banked and hybrid slalom. Additionally, this year we also held the ISSA 25 Cone Cup series, 25 Cone Race series, which around the world you can register to hold a 25 cone race, and then various locations do it in the same three-day window. We also held a tight slalom course for people to run some times down. This year was the first race since the passing of Evan Miris, who was an active cross member and skate enthusiast. I just think it's important to mention him. He made a lot of our trophies for the cross events, and he sorely missed at our catch-ups and skates. So yeah, the Ainsley and Hackett Ditch and Stromlo results have been used to accumulate both ASRA and ISSA points within their ranking systems. Briefly, ASRA is sort of our Australian ranking system, and the ISSA is the International Slalom Skateboard Association ranking system points. Just on that as well, all of these events have had interstate competitors and races, which I always find very exciting because it sort of shows us what the community is doing and that it's still of interest to people. Additionally, internationally, it's been very exciting for slalom and for Australia, I think, over the past couple of years. In 2022, World Skate Games included slalom skateboarding for the first time, which allowed Australia to have its first Australian slalom skateboarding team. The people that went and were included were Paul Shaddock, Nathan Path, Ryan Nichols, Isha Pang, and myself as racers. And we had Neil Duddy as our coach, Jake Main as our manager, and Nicole Mills-Goodwin was appointed by Skate Australia as sort of our liaison contact. And just on that, the support crew that came over with us and the racers themselves, you all did amazing, and you all went above and beyond for where we were and what we were doing. So shout out and thank you for that. In line with that too, the World Skate Games are held every 2 years. So the previous one was 22, and the next one is going to be in September this year, hopefully, in Italy. We're still waiting for confirmed dates and a location to be advertised by ISSA. So ASRA will be releasing their endorsed team for Australia very shortly once we have that finalised information. Races used for ASRA accumulation points and not will all be used in conjunction to pick the Australian team. ISSA have pre-selected 4 races that are registered in their system to Australia for the 2024 World Skate Games. This was from a combination of regional selections or from their Opens Pro division of ranking placements, either from the last season or over the previous 4-year window. I'd just like to say congratulations to Jackson Shapiro, Nick Sable and Aisha Pang for your ISSA pre-selection positions for the World Skate Games. I also want to make recognition and thanks to Bernie for being the Australian head steward over the past several years for slalom. Bernie updated results and was the main point of contact for Australia with ISSA for the last long while, actually, really. This work allowed several of us to accumulate points and hold international rankings within the ISSA system. Bernie has now stepped back from that role, and Scotty Taylor of the cross crew has stepped up and taken this on. So thank you for doing that, Scotty. I additionally want to just recognise Paul Shaddock and his skating over the past year. He made a massive effort and travelled to both the European and American World Championships in 2023. He skated amazingly both times. Hoping that he's interested in coming to Argentina so that we can keep up the not Argentina, to Italy, to keep up the communication he's got going with all the international teams. Moving forward, sorry, getting a bit tongue-tied. I'm really positive about where slalom is going and what we can do. Look, I'm hoping that more races can be held annually, and we've got more support. If anyone is interested in doing anything, please reach out to us. We're here to help. People will be given the opportunity to register interest for being selected, as Zach was mentioning earlier, for the Australian teams. This includes slalom. And yeah, just on that, we're all really approachable. We're all learning our feet. So if you need anything, please come and sing out to one of us. And that's slalom for the year so far.
Awesome. Thanks so much for that, Amy. The next sort of segment that we want to go into is sort of the recap that we've had recently from the World Championships that happened in the Philippines for the downhill skateboarding. I'm going to hand it over to our main man, Neil Duddy, who was a great help. He was the team manager for this event and provided great support to our athletes that were over there. I'll leave it to you to have some words, Duddy.
How's all going? As I've just written something down, so yeah. As always, Philippines is such an amazing place. We left Manila, headed to Tagaytay to check out the beast of a roller coaster hill down the inside of a volcano. The boys were super pumped. After checking out the hill, we headed back to accommodation to settle in and race. With luge, Graham Britton, Grits killed it all weekend as usual. He got third fastest qualifier, then destroyed every race, bringing home a silver medal. I'm so proud of Grits, and his consistency, solid hard work always pays off. If we had to carry a flag into the ceremony, I'd get Grits to do it. So a big up to Grits, because he's such a good quality rider. In the downhill skateboard, as you can imagine, being a world championships, the heats are going to be packed with top riders, and the rain didn't help. Shannon Tully qualified fastest for the Aussies. In the first round, qualified second, and after all qualies were done, sat in 10th position. And with a solid day of racing, came home with a 13th position, which is amazing job. Zane Bosner qualified 19th and skated so well all weekend and finished with our top Aussie. Zane finished in 11th position. Super stoked for Zane. And Dijon qualified 15th, finished in 21st position. It was a solid weekend of racing had by all. As I said, heats were packed. Raining patches and sometimes dry just didn't help. Tim got crashed out, and we threw up a protest which didn't end up going our way. Got him knocked out. Tim in his first heat, Tim qualified 25th and finished in 36th position. Mitch Thompson copped some crap weather and qualified in qualifications and had to work his way from the bottom of the heats were packed, and his first heat he was in first position coming into the first hairpin. His puck came off and hit a pothole, cat's eye. And on this roller coaster of a hill, you needed both pucks. It was switch back, hairpin, hairpin. I'm so proud of the boys. Everyone put in a solid effort, and everyone should be super proud of them. They did such a great job. Yeah, it was such a great time to see everyone doing their best. The rain, they had to deal with. It was such a good time, and I'm so impressed with how the boys held themselves. So congratulations, boys.
Big shout outs to everyone that went over there. We're all super, super proud of you guys. Yeah, so that kind of concludes like a bit of the segments that we have. Yeah, now we kind of just need to announce that we're looking for a liaison at the moment, who's going to hopefully work between Skate Australia and the ASRA board. We're going to be trying to look for someone to fill this position kind of soon. Yeah, unsure of the exact details as this position hasn't ever existed before. It's going to be like a new position. And yeah, it's just going to help, I guess, Skate Australia and the ASRA board like work simultaneously, and act as a bit of a bridge. So then that way we can communicate between each other to hopefully achieve better results for the association and for Skate Australia as a whole. Yeah, after some recent events as well, we're going to be looking for 2 new board members. We're going to be looking for a new, I think, treasurer, and then I think that was Thea's position, and then also looking for a new president, as we have unfortunately heard that James Hopkin is going to be stepping down. So over the next few days, we'll be like putting out more information about hopefully fulfilling those roles. And I think that the appropriate form of action is that we put in a emergency meeting. So from 2 weeks from now, we'll hopefully have finalized these positions and who will be filling them. And then that way we can introduce ourselves as our new roles within the board to the community. So yeah, sorry for any mishaps and bad efficiency with this AGM, but yeah, we're doing our best and we hope that everyone's still with us. That brings us to our questions that were posed from the community. We just want to say a big thank you to everyone that's put in the time to ask us questions, and yeah, hopefully we can fill you in on some of the answers to these that we've kind of been working on in the background. Yeah, so what is ASRA's plan for races and free rides for the future? We are hoping to move towards getting Newton's Nation back. Newton's has been a great event for Australia and has a legendary status amongst all international downhill skateboarding races. We want to try and bring this event back. We're going to try and work towards getting the team together to make that happen. There's been a lot of community support to try and make this race happen again. And I'm sure that everyone will be really happy to be back on the top of Mount Panorama, hanging out and getting ready to throw themselves down that road. So yeah, we're going to be talking about this in future meetings as a board and hopefully working towards just making that event come back to reality, because it's a sadly and sorely missed event. Yeah, we're also looking to try and move into doing some other like free ride events. Free ride events are great because they're not competitive and there's a lot more value for people who are not as experienced. So we're going to try and do more of that, so then that way there's more events happening and getting the community together as a whole. And we also want to try and create more grassroots events by providing a platform for people to be able to utilize ASRA services. So then that way we can sort of build more from the ground up. We also, yeah, trying to put more into the slalom events, the Conehead Cup and the other events that in the 25th of May that Duddy is hosting up in the Central Coast. Yeah, they're going to be great. If you have any way of getting to those, please try and make it down, because it would be great to get a big community together to attend those. yeah, we also want to create some event organizer resources. So then that way, when people are trying to create events, they don't really need to scratch their heads and try and contact a bunch of other people to get what they need. Hopefully, we'll sort of have some form of a website page, so then that way people can just access this information, and then moving forward, it'll be a lot smoother for people to try and get their foot in the door with hosting legal events for downhill or slalom or whatever discipline it is. There's also a lot of room for new events, such as like pump track racing or long distance racing or even longboard dancing competitions. Like we're really open to try and support all kinds of competition within Australian skateboarding that hasn't really been answered to yet. So yeah. We also have planned for the future a new website as part of what was gifted to us alongside like the funding from the IDF. We've been gifted the IDF website, which means that we're hopefully going to move towards basically pulling all the bits from the current Ning ASRA website and then applying that to the same format of what the IDF website was. But then also moving forward, try and create something so that other associations and countries can sort of use the framework to help support their own scenes. And this is going to be an ongoing project. We're going to try and get into this relatively soon, so then that way it really gets off the ground. It's been a bit of a turbulent time, so this is going to be a bit more of a long-term plan, but we're really striving to get the website updated, even though it's sort of something that we've been harping on for the last sort of 5 years with that ASRA website. We really need to update that and kind of get us moving into the future. For the second question, does ASRA have plans to diversify away from focusing mainly on downhill skateboard racing? Yes, we've got a lot of plans in the works for slalom. We're really trying to build up the community there, especially with all these new competitions that are opening up overseas. And we've got such an amazing pool of talent within Australia, and we just really want to try and drive home that we can support lots of different competition across Australia and get more people involved, because it is a great sport. So along with all these other disciplines that we support through ASRA. I'll jump to the next questions. So how does ASRA plan on delivering its duties as an organization? So we're hoping to be clearer with our communication. We've had a recommendation to try and bring back once a month an email update on just what's going on. And just more commitment to being a bit more transparent with what's happening, and trying to publish more of our financial situation, and along with how we operate funding to like the Australian teams and everything else. We're striving to be better than what we have been, because for a lot of people, they don't really see anything that happens with what's going on at ASRA. But in the background, there's always stuff happening where people are working towards hopeful new goals for the association and a future for the Australian skateboard scene. If you find that we aren't delivering on this, can you please get in contact, because we do need a bit of a reminder, because it's hard when you're working all the time and you don't really think about how you're not being visual, because we do work behind closed doors to do these meetings. And if you can think of any way that we can be a bit more transparent for someone who is a paying member, please hit us up, because we would love to be a bit more open about what's going on. Can international people be involved with ASRA's plans for the future? So this is something that especially working with Skate Australia, they host what's called the Oceania Championships. This is an event where it's both Australia and New Zealand, and they kind of come together as like a precursor before getting all the way over and doing the World Skate events. It would be great if we could move towards hosting events as a community for like the Asia Pacific region, and even maybe try and work towards getting a bit of a tour happening with events of the local area, because it's a lot easier for us to travel between our own region, where most of the people who travel for skateboard events at the moment are going way across the world to either Europe or North or South America. So it would be great if we can try and integrate like a bit more of a smaller community of international traveling to help support also the close international scenes, because there are really good talented skate participants in all these local countries. So yeah, we really want to try and support getting our riders over to your events if you can get them going, and also try and support their riders coming to Australia. And yeah, a great example of that is what Julian did recently with like his event, trying to open up a no registration fee for people coming from like Asian countries, and so then that way they just have to get their transport over here. Yeah, it's just great to create inclusivity between all these countries and try and get the community happening, because it's really great to support each other, especially in these days when numbers aren't as high as what they could be. Yeah, we're going to try and work. So this is question 5. How do you plan on being more transparent? We're going to try and come out with quarterly updates. We can try and get event announcements and results to be published on the website consistently. At recent times, like we haven't been as onto this. As a volunteer organization, it's not exactly easy to dedicate so much time and effort into chasing after all these results, but we can definitely be doing better to try and fulfill this as a community notice board. So yeah, that's something that we want to work towards, better record keeping of like current events. And yeah, we're going to try and up our social media presence, just so that way it continues to be current, especially with the changing climate of social media and how, a lot of it just gets lost in the wind. We just want to try and incorporate what we're doing behind the scenes and with the website into also having a presence, so that people kind of are reminded that we exist and that we are trying to document things as a association for the greater community. Number 6 is ASRA have plans to create resources for event organizers. Yeah, so we're going to be trying to get into creating these resources via an online website, be it the new one or maybe updating something for the old one until the new one exists. We want to try and create a bit more of a platform so that people who are into trying to get events going or want to get into creating events have the facilities to do so with ease and more availability as well. You can also reach out if you are thinking of holding an event. Contact us. We will try and help you do that as best we can. Even if you're out in the middle of nowhere and you think that no one's going to come, just like hit us up. We'll try and help you out. I'm sure that someone will be willing to drive out and give you a hand. Like, we are a community, and we're going to try and do our best to support that. What plans do you have in place to respond to declining interest in skateboard racing? So over the last few years, not just skateboard racing, but in general, there's definitely been a bit of a decline considering what it was like about a decade ago for the scene. We are planning on trying to facilitate more growth in grassroots and beginner-friendly events. We want to try and also potentially move towards getting a bit of a training situation. Within skateboarding, they have qualified skateboarding instructors, and it's something that I think we can try and work towards the facilitating across Australia. Maybe just whether it's like a learning day for either slalom, inline downhill skateboarding, luge, just these kind of like really beginner friendly events where people can come out and they can try it for the first time in a safe environment with guidance and with people who can give good instruction. It can be the difference between someone trying something for the first time, having a bad experience and never trying it again, or having the best time ever and continuing to do it onto the future. So we want to try and facilitate events like that happening across Australia, and much more frequently. That promotes growth, and growth promotes community, and then it just benefits everyone. What plans do you have in place to respond to the just read that one out. Excuse me. What are the current short, mid, and long-term goals of the current board? Very, very short goal is that we're going to finalize our 2024 World Skate Games team. That is going to be happening hopefully within the next 2 weeks. We really want to try and get the team together, and hopefully as soon as that's done, we can start working towards marketing and getting some funds raised, so that way we can send our people who are going to be representing Australia over with the best preparation and support from the whole community as a whole. We're working towards getting the team selected. We'll have a selection board hopefully selected soon, so then that way we have a group of people who are going to be making the executive decisions on ranking everyone to be going. Some auto selection has already occurred through the ISSA, and there will also be more selection processes involved for disciplines that don't have a specific involvement, like the inline downhill. And then we'll see what the numbers hold. Hopefully World Skate will update us soon so we can finalize all of that and get it going. We also want to try and get a calendar put out, so in that way people can see. We have a calendar on like the current IDF website, on the current ASRA website. But it would be nice to try and also promote those events across social media through a calendar system, just so then people are aware of what's going to be happening and when. Got in the midterm, we want to make sure that we're having annual qualifying events. Currently, we haven't really been pre-announcing what's been going on, just because we haven't really been certain that events are going to be happening. It's been a very hard time with insurances and other circumstances, especially within like the downhill disciplines. The slalom events have definitely been having a lot more events, but we definitely can be a bit more clear on our qualification process going forward. We also want to just try and create resources so that anyone that is keen to get involved and maybe represent Australia has the resources available through the ASRA website to know what to do and kind of continue to aim towards that and continue to grow our teams, because it's been a little bit exclusive the way that we've been selecting and incorporating like what's been going on with the teams. So it would be nice to try and aim to get that a little bit more out in the open, so that people can understand how things get selected and like why things are chosen, and when we can kind of get going with like teams and the timeline as well. It's been hard with events being announced very last minute, and we're just hoping to get our actual team organization a little bit more smoothed out, so then that way as a community we can go as a team a bit stronger. We want to work towards getting Newtons again as a long-term event, and other international events happening, and just want to try and get like a bit of a circuit happening as well. It would be cool to tie into either the WDSC or the World Skate to get another Australian event on the world tour, because it's greatly missed having internationals come over for our events, and also giving locals the opportunity to attend international events without breaking the bank and having to travel overseas. So what are ASRA's plans with the assets acquired and from the dissolvement of the IDF? We were gifted the timing system. As far as I know, it's been held captive in France. We'll wait and see what comes of all of that. We're not really sure where it is and how to obtain it. But our focus is definitely to try and get a working and running timing system within Australia as an asset for event organizers. Just so then that way we can provide high quality events at low costs, because it is quite a costly endeavor to hire those timing systems that really help smoothly run events and give people the experience to run time qualifying on either like a downhill track or a slalom track or whatever it may be. Then the website, I've kind of covered that already, but we're planning on using the IDF website and using that framework to redesign the ASRA website and create like a good online hub for everything that's going on within Australia. And the finances, we're probably going to be reinvesting into like the website to help get that off the ground sooner than later. And also just to hold some equity, so then that way, moving forward, we can use the funds if need be, but we just have it banked, so then that way in the future we're safeguarded if there were any bad financial situations to come up, and also to help support the teams that are going overseas if they need certain things paid for. It's also a bit of an asset for that. But obviously, like with conditions and the full disclosure of the board and their decisions. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it for the questions. I hope I haven't bored anyone too much to death with my constant talking, and I hope that I've answered a few of the things that you guys might have been thinking about to do with the association. If you do have any questions still that you want answered, please feel free to message any of the board or directly message our Facebook account, or you can email our president email, which I do believe is on the ASRA website. And yeah, we will get back to you with anything that you might want to know. But yeah, if you are still listening, I appreciate everyone that is tuned into this meeting. It is a little bit boring sometimes just listening to someone talk about stuff, but I hope it's been interesting and that you have gained a little bit of knowledge from it. Be on the lookout, as we will be advertising to try and get some more board members. I just hope everyone's doing well, and that it's an exciting time for the Australian Skateboard Association and the scene in general, as we can hopefully try and facilitate and progress it forward into the future. So yeah, thank you very much for tuning in. I guess we'll be signing off from here, but yeah, see you all next time, and see you on the internet.